What's good? It's Woog. We are going to talk a little Olympic boxing. Just kind of a quick preview, even though we're already a few fights in on this Olympic tournament. Now, there are 4 males and 4 females competing for Team USA. I know sometimes we see much bigger teams, but as it stands, we've got on the women's side, a flyweight, a featherweight, a lightweight, and a welterweight. And then on the men's side, we've got a flyweight, a featherweight, a welterweight, and a super heavyweight. Now, super heavyweight, you might be familiar, like Anthony Joshua won it in the 2012 London Games. Tony Yoka won it in 2016. That was the one where Joe Joyce won silver and Filip Ergovic won bronze. And then in 2020, the super heavyweight gold medalist was Bakhtir Jalolov. And Jalolov is actually performing in these Olympics. He's competing in these Olympics as well. And so far, he's just kind of running the table. I believe he's already in the quarterfinals. But let's talk a little bit about Team USA, and let's talk about the significance of the Olympics as a whole, because it's a lot different today than it was in the 70s and 60s and so forth. Like Cassius Clay was an Olympic gold medalist. George Foreman, Olympic gold medalist. You fast forward a few decades and you've got Oscar De La Hoya, winning the gold. The last American male to win the gold medal was Andre Ward. That was a while ago. I believe that was in the 2000 Olympic Games. So Team USA on the male side has had a significant drought when it comes to Olympic gold medals. Like Shakur Stevenson, he won a silver. Deontay Wilder won a bronze. We've had a few medals, but no golds on the male side since Andre Ward. And just before Andre Ward, that was when Floyd Mayweather won a bronze. David Reed was the Olympic gold medalist for Team USA that year. You might remember David Reed. He, was a 154, up and comer. Then he lost pretty devastatingly, I think, in terms of what it did to his career. He lost to Felix Trinidad. Trinidad was altering a lot of fight careers around that time. And then on the women's side, obviously we've had Claressa Shields, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. So no drought over there. But I feel like the significance of the Olympics as it pertains to boxing has diminished in its role, in what it means in terms of your prospects going forward. It used to be by far the most prestigious path to boxing success. We've seen that change over the years where you've got people, turning pro at 17, 18. Look at, Devin Haney. You've got fighters who become blue chippers at a younger age and are able to get with a big time promoter. Look at Gervonta Tank Davis. So right now, the Olympic path is just one of a few paths. And because America right now is not big on boxing, like it's not a top 5 sport, I would argue it's not a top 8 sport in the US today. Competing in the Olympics doesn't really guarantee you any success. You could get lost in the shuffle. And I feel like it's almost as important to start marketing yourself at an early age, so you've got some, social media traction as well as your in-ring success, whether you choose the Olympic path or you turn pro early, or you just have a long amateur career. But, I assume that if somebody were, like, say on the male side, to win a gold medal, that would be like a shot in the arm for Team USA Olympic boxing. But that's becoming a tougher and tougher task because, again, you've got more people turning pro early. Like, for instance, Kermel Moton, he's the Floyd Mayweather protege right now, who's, up and coming. I think he's got like 3 or 4 or 5, something. He's got a few professional fights and he's looking pretty spectacular very early in his career. Guys like him and Floyd Schofield, super young, talented fighters. Look at Abdullah Mason. These guys back in the day would have been Olympians, right? They would have been building their stock through the Olympics. I mean, we've recently had Keyshawn Davis, who I believe won the silver as well. But most blue chip young boxing athletes are turning pro earlier and aren't even competing in the Olympics. So let's see what we got right now this year for Team USA. On the women's side, we've got Jennifer Lozano. She's a flyweight. She's 21 years old. We've got Elisa Mendoza. She's a featherweight. She's 20 years old. She actually fights on Tuesday. Today, that's the round of 32. Then there's Jajira Gonzalez. She's a lightweight. She actually fought Michaela Mayer, I think in the qualifiers or something back in 2016. Michaela Mayer actually said that Jajira Gonzalez was her biggest competition back in 2016, but she had a few life events that kind of derailed her boxing career. And so now she's pursuing it again this year in the Olympics. And I actually just saw her lose her match. I believe it was in the round of 32. So she's already out. She's not medaling this year. That's Jajira Gonzalez. And then there's Morel McCain. She's a welterweight from Cleveland. She's 29 years old. So keep your eye on Morel McCain. She still has a shot at medaling, as do Elisa Mendoza and Jennifer Lozano. By the way, if there are any ringers on the women's side that I've seen so far this year, it would be this Brazilian Beatriz Ferreira. I think her last name is actually Soares. She's got like 4 names within her full name. She is actually a professional as well, but she's been, just kind of easily handling her competition thus far in this year's Olympics. She's a lightweight. In fact, now that I think about it, she was the one who I saw beat Jajira Gonzalez. So yeah, Beatriz Ferreira, she's pretty tight. And again, she's from Brazil. And then on the men's side, I've already seen one of our guys lose. It was actually our super heavyweight, Joshua Edwards. He lost to Diego Lenzi from Italy. So our heavyweight is already not gonna medal. Again, if I had to bet on it so far, I would think that Jalalov is probably gonna be the super heavyweight gold medalist. Although there's this other guy, there's this Samoan Australian named Tara Moana, who I just saw knock out his opponent. He's a pretty heavy hitter, big dude. I want to see what he could do with Jalalov. But there was another guy named Delicious something. Yeah, his first name is Delicious. It's the British super heavyweight. And I just saw him lose to, I believe, a Spaniard. And I thought that Delicious, I forgot his last name, should have won that fight. So it was a very close one, but yeah, the British super heavyweight is already not gonna medal. Again, this is the same team that brought you Anthony Joshua, Joe Joyce, right? So yeah, pretty disappointing there, at least for Team Great Britain. And then obviously for Team USA, because Joshua Edwards, our super heavyweight, lost. But the 3 remaining males on Team USA are Roscoe Hill. He's a flyweight, 112. He's 29 years old and he's from Houston. So he's a pretty old Olympian. His dad actually used to train with George Foreman out in Houston. He fights today, Tuesday, in the round of 16. So I've seen one of his fights already, and he drops his hands a lot. Like, he won on all 5 judges' scorecards. But the thing about the Olympics is, if you try to do too much of the slick, elusive, sweet science stuff, this is 3 rounds, right? And sometimes the working effort can get the credit over the person who might be picking their shots and hitting and not getting hit and being more precise and accurate with their punches. Sometimes that doesn't matter if the other guy is simply throwing more punches and looking like the aggressor. So sometimes it blows my mind, given that context, given those rules, that sometimes we get a guy who will, in round 3 of a 3-round fight, will spend the last minute kind of dropping his hands and moving away from the opponent as if they've already got it won. It's like, yo, if you had a split between the judges in that first or second round, and then you're messing around in this 3rd round, you could very easily look like you should have won the fight and lose the fight. I've already seen it a few times this year. But yeah, Roscoe Hill, he's still in it. I just worry about his dropping the hands fight style, where he was kind of like letting this very game opponent, the guy was from the Olympic refugee team. That's where they have a lot of the countries with a lot of strife, where there are a lot of refugees coming from that country. The Olympics has a refugee-based team. So the guy's name was Omid Ahmad Isafa, I believe, and that was Roscoe Hill's opponent. I thought Omid, we'll call him, was very game, very, coming forward. And the way that he was fighting Roscoe Hill, who was kind of rolling with the shots and kind of being more judicious in picking his shots, I thought that Roscoe Hill might be in danger of losing. Again, he didn't lose this fight, but I'm going to be looking at that going forward. And then you've got Jamal Harvey. He's the featherweight, 125. He's 5'7". By the way, Roscoe Hill, very tall and long for the division, the flyweight, right? So he's fighting at 112, and Roscoe Hill is 5'9", 5'9" flyweight. Jamal Harvey, who's actually supposed to be the ringer on this team. He's supposed to be the guy who you need to keep your eye out for. So he's 21 years old. He's 5'7". So think about it. Our featherweight 125 is 2 inches shorter than our flyweight 112. But yeah, Jamal Harvey, he's supposed to be the guy on this team. He switches stances, so he goes orthodox and southpaw. Again, he's 21 years old. He's won a world championship in 2021. So yeah, he fights on Wednesday. Keep your eye on Jamal Harvey. I get the feeling that if we are gonna get a gold medal, that it's gonna be Jamal Harvey. So I think that at least on the men's side, that's where Team USA is putting their hopes. And then we've got Omari Jones. He's the welterweight on the squad. He fights on Wednesday. Jones is 20 years old. He's supposedly an avid golfer, and he was doing karate and transitioned from karate to boxing at the age of 8. So I wouldn't sleep on this guy either. He won I believe a silver medal in the 2021 Elite World Championships, which was reportedly his first tournament that he's participated in. He's from Orlando, Florida. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. But yeah, keep your eye on the men's side. Again, Jamal Harvey, he's the featherweight. Omari Jones, he's the welterweight. Joshua Edwards, our super heavyweight, is already out. And then Roscoe Hill, he's our flyweight. And then on the women's side, Jennifer Lozano, the flyweight. Elisa Mendoza, the featherweight. Jajara Gonzalez, the lightweight, is already out. She's the one who lost to Beatrice Ferreira. And then Morel McCain, the welterweight. By the way, there is another fighter. He's from Cuba who seems like he might be a ringer as well. His name is Alvarez, and I think his first name is actually Eris Landy, but I saw another name in there as well. He's a lightweight. We don't have an American male participating in lightweight, but yeah, so far, Alvarez is kind of looking like the truth. I've seen him run through 2 opponents now. He's a hard hitter. He's pretty quick. He's pretty crafty. Like, he might be the real deal. Again, Alvarez, and I think his first name is Eris Landy. But yeah, let me know if you've been keeping up on the Olympics at all. Let me know if you are familiar with any of these fighters, and if you think that any one of these women or men are gonna win a medal or even a gold. Let me know who you think they are, and what do you think the relevance right now is in US Olympic boxing, and is it different between women and men? Like, if you were to advise a young boxer coming up on whether they should take the Olympic path or turn pro early, if you were going to weigh the pros and cons, let me know how you see that. Because the thing is, when you fight in the Olympics, it's a big time commitment, right? You're either doing pro or you're doing the Olympics. They made an exception for like Keyshawn Davis's class because of COVID, right? But generally, if you are already a pro, you can't then compete in the Olympics. And if you're competing in the Olympics, you're obviously not fighting pro. So what would you do if you were a young boxer coming up, or how would you advise a young boxer coming up on the women's side and on the men's side? Because the paths of opportunity or the amount of exposure for each is not the same. So you might suggest to a male boxer to go the pro route because maybe there's a quicker path to money. Like if you could get on with Top Rank or Matchroom or Golden Boy or something, right? Or if you could sign with Floyd Mayweather, there might be a quicker path to money on the male side, whereas maybe you would advise the young female boxer to go the Olympic route because you get more exposure, especially if you medal, and then maybe that'll springboard a more lucrative pro career. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.